In this video, we're going to look at what is software testing and quality assurance, and how does material that we'll cover in this course will benefit you for doing the work that you need to do. What I have on the screen is the diagram that shows the software testing process, and it shows major elements of what's involved in the software testing. You see it starts with requirements analysis and ends at the test closure. But before we cover this diagram, I want to talk a little bit about the objective of software testing. You might have heard that software, as it's being built, becomes very complex a lot of times, and sometimes defects are made, so software does not function as expected. It might result in a crash, it might result in incorrect outcome to the user, or it might result in something else. So that's why the software testing process was established, and sometimes it's formal, sometimes it's informal, sometimes it's rigorous, sometimes it's not, but the thing is, it has to be done, and it's probably not very needed for the small applications or for the games like on the phone, or for entertainment applications, but it's certainly very much needed for financial applications, or for medical applications, or for anything more important, more important for different reasons. Could be life-threatening if it's a medical application, if software malfunctions, or if it's the operation of the nuclear plant. Every business has different conditions and operates differently, and puts different requirements for software testing. So what we have here, we have the overview of the process, and it starts with requirements analysis. This is where new software needs to be written, and users go and look at the requirements. So there's a team called, a lot of times called business analysts, that go and talk to the end users and say, what do you want to build? What kind of software? What should it do? How it should operate? What should be the elements on the screen? And a lot of questions they ask, and they document it, and a lot of times it's a requirements. And before, when software is built, the test planning process starts. A lot of times they work in conjunction with developers, and as part of test planning process, users just look at what's going to be the features of the application and how it could be tested, right? That's exactly test planning. They also decide, okay, we want to do this testing 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, whatever number of times. I was in the project once which tested it 7 times. So quite an extensive, but apparently we were still finding issues at the end of 6th cycle. So it was pretty interesting. Then there's a phase that's called test case development, and this happens a lot of times in parallel with the application development, with the software development, right? So as developers do development, testers develop test cases. So they write down, and we have a video covering how to do test cases in Microsoft Excel. Next phase is test case execution, and for this phase we have test scripts, and we have a status, pass and fail, and you need, as part of test case execution, document the results, so people know how many defects were found, who this defect is assigned to, is it fixed, is it important or is it not important, and things like that. Next phase is test results reporting. And as part of this phase, you want to talk to the management, to team members, depending how large your team is. You probably want to communicate, and we have a video of how to do test results reporting. Then there is a phase for defects retesting, and so this is once defects found, they have been fixed, then there is a phase for doing retesting of this defect. And if this application is the extension or enhancement of existing application, you would want to make sure that not only new features are tested, which probably most likely will be covered as part of test planning and test case development, but also regression testing is done, which tests the features of the previously built application, the previous version of the application. And there's a phase called test closure. So this phase deals with the defects. Sometimes a lot of small defects, not important defects, are being left out, or sometimes they're being delayed in fixing because there's limits in the budgets or for whatever reasons. And you need to decide, what do you want to do with them? Do you want to maybe fix them and close the project, or do you want to have them? They are maybe cosmetic or not important, and that's where test closure phase makes this decision and decides, do we want to build a new team, or do we want to continue with the existing team? And it goes step by step, and once this decision is made, obviously you have to kind of adhere to this decision. Sometimes you may not necessarily understand why this is done, but it's important to have a closure on testing, closure on the project, and that's why sometimes some of the things were called out of scope instead of being fixed. So that's why we still might have some of the bugs in the very famous applications, even though developers know about this, even though the project team knows about it, we still have it because somebody determined that it's not important to fix it. Hope you've enjoyed this overview. Again, this is the cycle that shows you all the different phases of the test planning and software testing. And for each of these phases, we have a different document that's covered as part of this video that we're going to learn how to build in Microsoft Excel. And that's the benefit. You only need one tool instead of using multiple different applications. You use one tool, Microsoft Excel, and you can manage each and every step in your software testing process, starting from requirements analysis and up to the test closure phase. And that's the big benefit. Hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next session. Thank you.